My name is Elena Rivers, and what I am about to share still feels surreal. It began on a quiet Tuesday afternoon in Seattle, the kind of day that should have been ordinary. I was deep in work, reviewing spreadsheets and lost in numbers, when my phone buzzed beside my laptop. The message was short, cold, precise. I want a divorce. All communication through my lawyer. Just like that. 15 years of marriage ended in a single text. No warning, no argument leading up to it, not even a crack in the facade. The night before, we had eaten dinner together. We talked about weekend plans, laughed about a movie we both wanted to see. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, to suggest that he was planning to destroy our life the next day. I remember staring at the message for what felt like hours. My husband, Lucas Rivers, the man who once promised to protect my heart, had just thrown our entire history into a lawyer's inbox. My hands trembled, but my mind became strangely quiet. He wanted it formal, legal, detached. So I gave him exactly that. My reply was one word. Understood. That was the moment something inside me shifted. I logged into our shared financial accounts. I was not joint on most of them, not officially, because Lucas always insisted we keep some independence. So I opened my laptop, signed into the accounts he had tied to me as an authorized user, and began removing myself from his financial ecosystem. The supplementary cards were cancelled. The automatic transfers he sent every month for my personal expenses were terminated. The streaming accounts, subscriptions, everything we once shared, gone. It was not revenge. It was compliance. He drew the line, and I stayed behind it. A few hours later, an email came from his lawyer, Mr. Dalton. I forwarded it to my attorney, Marissa Lee, who responded within minutes. You did the right thing. We will take it from here. That night, the house felt hollow. Lucas was gone. His closet was empty, his cologne still hanging in the air. I did not cry. I sat on the couch, legs pulled up, staring into the dark. The silence felt louder than ever before. 3 days passed before the first call came. An unknown number flashed across my screen. Something in me knew. Mrs. Rivers? The voice was clipped and impatient. This is Mr. Dalton. I represent your husband. He says your cards have been declined, your accounts frozen. You cannot just cut off funds. That is not how this works. My tone stayed even. Mr. Dalton, my husband requested all communication go through lawyers. I complied. Any financial discussions can be made through my attorney, Ms. Lee. He tried to argue, said it was unfair, that I had left Lucas in a difficult position. But I reminded him, Lucas had ended the marriage via text. I was simply following his rules. By the end of that call, my heart was racing, but my resolve was absolute. He wanted distance. He would get it. Days turned into weeks, and the war began. Lucas's attorney filed for emergency financial support, claiming I had acted in bad faith. Marissa countered calmly and surgically, showing proof that I had maintained all essential payments. The mortgage, utilities, insurance. She reminded the court that Lucas had initiated the separation without warning and had ample personal funds. Then came the emotional manipulation. His sister called me one night, pretending to check in but quickly turning hostile. You are ruining him, Elena. He is falling apart. I did not respond. I took notes. Dates, times, everything logged. A few days later, I got a notification from the bank. Someone had tried to withdraw money from a dormant joint account we had both forgotten existed. It only had about $400 left. He had tried to drain it. I froze it immediately and sent documentation to Marissa. Lucas's side accused me of being vindictive. My lawyer called it evidence of pattern. The hearing came. He looked thinner, angry. His lawyer painted me as cold and ruthless, a woman trying to destroy her husband out of spite. But when the judge saw the text that started it all, the single line where he ended 15 years in a message, the atmosphere in that courtroom shifted. I watched Lucas lower his gaze as Marissa presented proof that I had acted logically, responsibly, and within every boundary he set. The court ruled in my favor. Temporary support was minimal. The judge even commented, "You cannot dismantle a marriage like that and expect sympathy for the fallout." Lucas's expression said everything. Shock, disbelief, humiliation. But he was not done. Anonymous complaints began surfacing at my workplace. Claims that I was using company time for personal legal business. False, of course. My boss dismissed them immediately, but we both knew where they came from. His mother called next, her voice breaking between sobs and accusations. "You have become cruel. What happened to the woman who loved my son?" That woman, I thought, died the moment he sent that text. We proceeded through the months like chess players. Every move met with a counter. He tried to keep the car that was in my name and refused to return it. So I stopped the payments. Within weeks, it was repossessed outside his friend's house. He tried to argue for the house too, even though he had left it empty. I filed for exclusive ownership, citing abandonment. The court approved it. 6 months later, the final hearing arrived. He looked exhausted, defeated. His lawyer argued about fairness and shared assets. Marissa remained poised, presenting every lie, every manipulation, every action he took after declaring lawyers only communication. When the judge finally spoke, her tone was deliberate. This entire conflict was born out of one text message. "Choices have consequences, Mr. Rivers." By the end of that day, the settlement was clear. I kept the house and most of the assets. He retained what was legally his, but far less than he had expected. His arrogance had cost him more than money. It had cost him control. Now, sitting here months later, I can finally breathe. The quiet no longer feels heavy. It feels earned. I did not seek revenge. I sought peace. And I found it, not through anger, but through discipline. Because when someone ends your life with a text, the most powerful response is not rage. It is silence. Silence and precision. So to anyone listening, let me ask you something. If the person you loved most ended everything with one message, what would you do? Would you crumble, or would you calmly show them what consequences look like? If this story spoke to you, do not forget to like this video, turn on notifications, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories like this.